I'm liking this lung hitting, but I've noticed my moustache gets wet when I exhale with water vapour. Seriously, I was in the car and I thought, my moustache is a bit wet. And I realised it's all the vapour. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I don't do it.
Well, you haven't got a big tash, have you?
No, which is just as well. I know Sab does the... Yeah, when she's upstairs, she does the lung inhale thing. Oh, I see us now, so we're live.
We are live. Good evening, chat. Can you see us? Who's in there? Blaze. Hello, Liam. You're going to be nice to me tonight. Ego, Olgit, Chief, Davey, Pete. Hi-Fi Stud's in the room, but he might just be logged in.
He's just logged in.
Yeah, I think he's in bed. Yes, Dad says we are live. Now, we've had a few issues. Well, I've had a few issues tonight. Everything went Pete Tong, Major League, and I've had to rebuild this whole show again for about the 7th time today. So hopefully we're going to be all good. Yeah, we'll kick off. It's a minute past, so we'll have the bug, and then when we come back, we will start the show. How does that sound, Kat?
Sounds fine to me.
Kat's happy. Yeah. Okay. Let's kick off.
Sounds fine to me.
Let's kick off with the bug. Oh no, my keyboard's going now. My keyboard's gone. Well, there you go. Good evening. Yes, different set tonight, seeing as it's not really my show, so I've done a slightly different set. You could have had this one instead, which is similar to the normal vapor scene, or in fact that one. But I've gone with this one for the close-up shot tonight. Yes, just to confuse you a little bit more. It's a bit different. So, yeah, Kat's going to get that in a second when it kind of reaches her. So, Mr. Dawn is poorly sick. So, myself and Kat, who's there, we're going to bring you some bits of VT that Dave did that was for tonight's show, plus some other stuff. Plus, we're going to waffle on about all sorts of stuff. And tonight, we're not calling it the Haze Hour, although it's kind of the Haze Hour. We're calling it the Vape Hour. Yes. So tonight, it's the Vape Hour with myself and Kat. So let's see what chat I've got to say. Chief likes the set. Thank you, Chief. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too shabby. I did it earlier, and then it all crashed and had to build it all back up again. But we can do these things with 5 minutes to go. We have the technology. And Leanna likes the Pro sets. Yes, they are nice, I have to say. And there's an offer on at the moment with the company that make them, 50% off. So I might get another one. I don't know. We'll see. Yes, it's not Barnsley. I've got no idea where this is behind me. No idea at all. It's just a picture that came from somewhere, one of the royalty-free pictures that came from somewhere, and I've got no idea where it came from. I think it's called City Gardens. Might be something else. I'll find out and let you know. I'll do a reverse image search on it and find out exactly where I got it from. I've got so many different bits and pieces in different folders, which I use. Yes. So, needs palm trees, Morph says. Yes, and Marco has a window that defies time and space, says Matt, Cybernoid. I don't think it's a Dubai Tower either, no. But anyway, we're waffling on here before we even start the show. What's all that about? So tonight, we won't start with the usual exhalations from the Haze Hour that Keith and Dave do, but we'll just have the titles instead. Yes. Tonight, it is the Vape Hour.
Safercigs.co.uk sponsors of the Haze Hour.
Yes, it's the Vape Hour with myself and Kat, who's there. Hello, Kat.
Hello.
There's a bit of a delay on pressing the button to it coming on my screen, so I might just use my mouse, just in case.
I'm just laughing at some of the suggestions of where the photograph is.
Nelson
Bradford,
Mandela House.
Manchester, Road Flats, Barrow in Furnace Bus Depot. It could be any, couldn't it?
Everyone done the selfie thing on Twitter. Could be Dudley. Dudley! Now, strangely enough, Chief, Dudley, let me go to this one. There we go. Dudley, I will be seeing next Friday. Yes, because there's a vape meet on. And I haven't got a still for it. I was going to put it on the show, which is on Monday, don't forget, next week. Vape scene's on Monday next week, not Tuesday. I'm in Scotland. And then I'm back on Thursday, and I'm going down to Dudley to the meet, which is at Midlands Vaping. And I'm sure I see that you're on the list to go there, Chief, possibly. But anyway, if you are there, I'll see you. So, McAfee, yeah, Disco Dares McAfee is an absolute Peter, because during the show it started off one night and I had to cancel it because my CPU went bing and started going through the roof. Anyway, we digress. We've got some VTs for you that Dave did for tonight's show, which you saw little snippets of in the intro, in the titles there. But Kat and I will be discussing some other stuff as well. And what you see on Vapor Scene, I pull up these stories from They Work For You because I get emails telling me there's been responses. And I've had another one today, so I thought I'd bring you that today. And it's this one. And I can't see it because I haven't set my display to the other one. There we go. Yes, the independent MP for Portsmouth South, Mike Hancock, asked the Secretary of State for Health what assessment has been made of the implications for this policies on research on the efficacy and safety of e-cigarettes as a smoking cessation aid. Now, Matt has got the link to the PDF, which is mentioned in this particular slide. And it's well worth a read, actually. It's 30 pages long. I haven't really got time to go through it with you tonight. But please have a read of that. But Jane Ellison says, according to ASH and Smoke Free GB survey, around 2 million adults in Great Britain currently use e-cigarettes. A third are ex-smokers who have given up completely, and a further third are using them as part of a quit attempt. While e-cigarettes are not completely without risk, they carry a far lower risk to health than smoking tobacco. A recent Cochrane review found that e-cigarettes can help smokers to quit or reduce their smoking, and the National Centre for Smoking Cessation and Training advice to local stop smoking services is that they should be open to helping smokers who want to quit smoking with the help of e-cigarettes, especially in those that have tried but not succeeded in stopping smoking with the use of licensed stop smoking medicines. What do you think about that, Kat?
Well, she's quoting out-of-date information. to a degree. She's been forced to say something slightly positive because of the Cochrane report, but you can almost hear the gritted teeth that it's been said through. So I actually read that document through, and as I was reading it, I was saying to myself, this industry moves far too quick for a report like this. Because a report like that takes quite some time to put together. And when I looked at where all the information came from at the end of that report, I think the latest thing on there was March 14. So, the most recent study quoted is a year old. So that report is already well out of date as far as the technology of vaping is concerned. And as far as all the recent studies are concerned, it's hugely out of date, But I just felt she was answering with gritted teeth. And I for one, ticked does this answer your question? Yes.
And at the end, in the summary, they do say that they are a good way of getting people off using lit tobacco. However, like you said, it's old. It's an old story, and I think she kind of had to say it in light of that report. Otherwise, she'd have given a normal kind of answer. There was another question as well from the same MP, and that was, what assessment has been made on positive and negative effects of e-cigarettes on people with asthma? No such assessment has been made. So a lot of blurb on one, not much blurb on the other. But
well, she couldn't quote it twice, could she?
No, she couldn't. No. Now, Davey has just tapped into our team Skype. He's seen his local stop smoking nurse on the 1st of April. Really? As GP Surgery has changed their advert boards to be mostly about e-cigs, and I want to see what she actually knows. She's going to try and film it, but failing that, he'll try and get some VT done. So hopefully, Dave, you can bring us that on drips and tips over the coming weeks. And we discussed briefly on Tuesday's show Joe Lincoln's blog and the fact that she'd seen those advertising boards in the pharmacy saying don't vape, quit for good, using the Nicorette products. So they are on the back foot, major league style, trying to poo-poo vaping. But someone who kind of did and didn't poo-poo vaping today was Nick Clegg. Have a look at this.
Vaping is we've got to be honest.
I'm not a clinician, as it happens. I am. I haven't had a sort of what I call an old-fashioned cigarette for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks.
Well, this is tremendous news. Why didn't you share this with me?
You were. Well, I know. Well, just
I'm
you
so
didn't
pleased.
ask.
So how long have you been vaping?
About a month and a half.
And how long does a vape last, or vapor, or whatever it is?
What do you mean it lasts?
Does it run out of?
No, you have to charge the batteries.
Oh, I see.
It's quite fiddly. You have to. Sort
okay,
of,
and
I wouldn't. Can I stress? I wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm assuming it's better not to use vapes at all.
Yeah.
But I think the assertion which Nicholas is making, which I intuitively think is right, but I'm not a clinician, is that it is better than smoking old-fashioned cigarettes.
But and you're coming into the general election, and there's a stressful time.
Fit as a fiddle.
I'm very pleased to hear that.
Thank you.
Yes, that was a very small snippet from the LBC site today, as Nick Clegg was there this morning, as we mentioned on Tuesday's show. And I'm not sure who Nicholas was, and I didn't hear the question because they didn't actually post that. They only posted the answer to the question. But it seems to me that Nick Clegg was almost embarrassed about talking about it. He seemed to be, a bit shifty. And it's a bit of a palaver. You've got to charge batteries. What does his BlackBerry do? I'm sure there's lots of things he has to charge in his day-to-day life. As part of the coalition government, and I have reached out to his office nearly 2 weeks ago now to ask for a vox pop or an interview or comment or whatever. But I've literally had zip back from them, apart from the automated response. Thank you for your email. So we'll see what happens there. What do you think about that, Kat? And while I have a look at chat.
Do you want me to really say what I think?
Yes.
I didn't catch the interview. I just heard a little bit of his response there. And frankly, the feeling I get is that because his party doesn't particularly support and has given no support whatsoever regarding vapers and vaping, that he was embarrassed, definitely embarrassed to say anything and to admit that he'd used it. And then to go on and say, you know, as he did, criticism and it's not ideal and stuff like that. It's not the way to do it. It's hardly been tactful, and he's just made himself enemies rather than a lot of people who could support him. So that's my opinion. But then again, I didn't hear it all. So,
yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think he looked decidedly uncomfortable talking about it, almost like he'd been caught out. But then at the same time, he's been all over the press talking about it already, and the fact that he uses blueberry flavoured juice. Why would an adult, why would the Deputy Prime Minister want to vape on a flavoured e-liquid? Heaven forbid.
Because he didn't think of the children.
Yes, exactly.
You know the answer to that.
Let me put a double shot. There we go. Yes, at the end of the day, we're getting all this crap coming to us about flavours and the fact that it's going to introduce children. Yet the Deputy Prime Minister, Nick Clegg, uses a blueberry flavoured e-liquid in his vape. That he did look decidedly embarrassed at the fact that it was, asked the question. And then at the end of it, he's not advised anyone to use it, which is fair enough. He can't really, in his responsible role, say to somebody, yes, go and take up vaping. That would probably come back on him quite badly. But the fact that it's a bit fiddly, you've got to charge batteries, heaven forbid.
Well, I mean, it was as bad with the tabs, wasn't it? You actually had to take them out the packet, and light them.
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah, you had to get a lighter out and you had to fill the lighter. Well, maybe he's got a flunky that does it for him. I don't know. But he did look decidedly shifty being asked that question. But there you go. Let's see what chat I've got to say. Yeah, B. Pinkett Evans says Defo didn't want to answer. And Davey in our chat has put David Cameron was probably under his chair.
Honest to God.
Now, is anyone having any sink issues? Rob says no, just me and you. But he's in perfect sync. So I do apologise if you're having syncing issues. I don't know what that problem is. We have had some issues with YouTube over the past few weeks, I have to say. And it went a bit peaked on for me on Tuesday as well. It could be, in fact, it more than likely is, there's a lot of solar activity with the eclipse tomorrow. So there has been lots of kind of electronic interference and stuff happening with the extraordinary stuff that's going on. All these auroras in the UK, and with the eclipse in about 24 hours. Ooh, exciting. Then yes, there's a lot of issues going on. And just to
12
touch on...
hours? 12 hours?
12 hours, not 24 hours. Yes, 12 hours. It's been one of them days, Kat.
It has, I know.
So if you are going to view the eclipse tomorrow, just be careful not to do it with your naked eyes. Use the correct methods, and I wouldn't be pointing any expensive camera equipment unless you've got a proper filter on it. I was contemplating getting a video camera out, but I'm not going to, just in case. I'd rather not damage my camera. So I'll have a look at it with a naked eye, but not for very long. And then I'll see it on the telly when it's been done properly. I think But it's always a good experience anyway. Have you seen one, Kat?
An eclipse?
Yeah.
Yeah, one or two I have. Quite impressive. Because I'm getting on in years, you know. I've seen one or two of those sort of things. Trevor has said, we mean the solar storm, of course. Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
But the eclipse is more topical.
Yes.
So we're going to blame that. And yeah, we've seen all the stuff about the solar, you know, what's been happening up in the sun, which is quite scary, actually. And we have had warnings that it's going to affect the broadcasting that we do. But tonight we're going to blame the eclipse, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
That's them told.
And then tomorrow I'll be sacrificing 100 oxen on the altar to
Absolutely.
the sun.
I'll only sacrifice Nick Clegg.
It was a very, very powerful thing back in the day. You know, a lot of the ancient civilizations thought it was a huge omen, and it was a very big part of their culture, especially the Aztecs.
Well, I was watching Stargazing just before, you know, we came on air there, and they were saying there's a lot of people even now are terrified.
Yeah.
You know, when something like this happens, they see it as all kinds of omens for the year to come, and you know, you think, God, you know, we don't take much notice, and yet there are people out there terrified.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yeah. If I could, I'd show you the sketch from Not the 9 O'Clock News from back in the 80s.
All right.
I remember that one. But it was something like, will this wind that blows so strong lay low the mountains of the earth? It was very funny, but you had to be there, really. Anyway, we're coming up to ad time. Yes.
Oh,
so, yeah. So we'll have the first set of ads. When we come back, Kat and I will return, and Mr. Dawn will make an appearance, albeit on VT. Yeah. See you in 2.
Safersix.co.uk, sponsors of the Haze Hour.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Award-winning service and products from cloud9vaping.co.uk.
Vapors. Dripper just got 40% bigger. So if you love discovering new e-liquids, tell Dripper what flavours you like and we'll send you 70ml of juice and at least 5 flavours. With a money-back guarantee and free delivery anywhere in Europe, dripper.co.uk.
LP Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and e-liquids. Proud sponsors of vaping entertainment on Vapor Trails TV.
What's in this e-cig cloud? Harmless water vapour, right? Pretty much, yes. Compared to a lit cigarette, it's much safer than smoke. But it contains nicotine, and nicotine on its own isn't toxic and doesn't cause cancer. If you're worried about switching to vapour, here are some facts. No tar, no smoke, no burnt tobacco. Cooking your evening meal produces more toxins than are found in exhaled vapour. Tobacco smoke contains toxins at very high levels, and vapour does not. And that vapour contains 6,000 times less carcinogens than cigarette smoke. electronic cigarette vapour. There's nothing to be frightened of. The only dangerous electronic cigarette is a banned one.
SaveTheCigs.co.uk, sponsors of the Haze Hour.
And we are back in the room. Hello. Yes, just looking at the chat there. A lot of comments on the Nick Clegg piece in LBC. Now, strangely enough, I'm pretty sure that LBC is just down the road from Olympia. So I wonder whether anyone will go to Vape Jam from LBC. Interesting. Anyway, like I mentioned earlier, this being the Vape Hour, instead of the Haze Hour, but Dave is still making an appearance. So here is the first of 2 little bits of video that Dave had for tonight's show. Yes, enjoy this.
Hello, here's me again. I'm going to have a look at this Revolver, which is a really queer thing. Revolver, what's that all about? Well, if we look at the box, it says 1 tank, 2 chambers, that's what it says here. And I have the beastie here, currently sat on a device. So, this is it. Bigger in life than it is in the picture. What you get in the box is the device itself, obviously. The Bedeinung Sang Leitung, or actually the user manual, which is here, which you will need. This is not as straightforward as you might think. A single spare atomizer, and that's your lot. There's nothing underneath there. So what's so special about this? Well, you may be able to see, if I put it like that, that there are 2 distinct different colours of juice in this device, because there are 2 chambers. Let me take off the drip tip, which is standard size, so that I can stand it on its bottom, give its bum a little wipe. It's been getting swapped about on mods over the last few minutes, so right, we stand that so that you can see what's going on right in the middle of the camera, and let's unscrew this bottom bit, which is quite notchy, and there's a reason for that, because what you have inside is a setup that has 2 atomizers, 2 fill holes, and this rather nutty piece of kit, which allows you to, at any given point in time, as you can see, if it was that way on, that's coming off the center pole, it will fire both on that T-piece connection, or if you've got it that way, it will fire whichever one you've got it pointed at. Changing atomizers in this is relatively straightforward, if a little fiddly, and you might snap a nail. I know I have. But by undoing what looks like, I'm so sorry to say this, a nipple, you can pull out the coil assembly without actually spilling any juice. As you can see, the way it's filled at the minute, you can actually manage it without spilling any juice. So you can replace the coils, which are a standard bottom coil jobbies. So let's screw that back in. Now this is the clever bit. You just got to watch, and it does get slippy, so mayhap a pair of tweezers or a tiny wee set of pliers, whichever, but you do need to pull that filling bung out, and then you can screw the coil back in. Obviously the same applies on the other side as it does on this side. It's not exactly rocket science, is it? And you want it fairly snug. These are, as you'll be able to see if I put it that way and get it central, you can see that it's sprung. Yes, try and do that so you can see. Quite heavily sprung is that centre contact. And as you've probably worked out, the fill port for each of these two tanks is either side, beside the coil that it works with. So sprung that back in, and then the bottom switching selection piece simply screws on. As I say, it'll feel a bit notchy, and the reason it feels a bit notchy is because those contacts you saw inside are flitting about either side. So, and because my fingers have been all juicy, I shall give that a little wipe so that you might stand a better chance of being able to see. So you have a number of, there we go, numerals around here. There's a 3, and then as you twist the bottom, which you can see this bottom bit moving, and these line up with this little arrow and air hole here. So when the arrow and air hole is beside 3, that'll fire one particular combination. When it's beside 2, it fires both. There's the 3, another 3, and 1. So you can switch between 3, which is everything firing, tank 1, and tank 2, which is this tank here. Yeah? So tank 2, this tank here, fires by itself. At which point, I think what I want is to screw it into a device. And once it's screwed onto the device, you can actually turn it by the top. Alright, you don't turn the bottom, then you turn it by the top. Find your air hole. So that is set currently to number 2. And, whoop, and it's firing. And I need to knock the wattage down on that, something chronic, because it's set something ridiculous. Now, these are not the world's most efficient coils. They don't want to be driven too high. So I'm going to start at 9 watts on a single coil, and let's see how we go from there. So that's drip tip in, big camera, here we go. So this is, I've got, for my sins, I've got blackberry in one side and I've got flavourless in the other. Let's see how we go. So I'm set on 2, which should be the flavourless, judging by the colour. Actually, it's the blackberry. The first thing that strikes me is the airflow is very restricted. This is definitely a mouth inhale. But it does produce quite nicely, as you can see. So let's rotate it around and go to the other side. So that was number 2. Let's go around to number 1, which, as you can see, we're on number 1. So that should be the other flavour, or flavourless. And indeed it is. Now, I have to say, if you've been using a really, really strong flavour, then you're still going to get the remnants of that going up the mouthpiece. It'll still taste. But again, that's working quite nicely. So now, let's go back and find the air hole and move it round to number 3. You get much better airflow. And indeed, it's almost lungable. And should show you as well, that's showing, put it the other way up, David, so folks can see That's showing 1.3 ohms, okay, at 3.8 volts. If I put it onto just the one, it will show you 2.4. All right, but I'm running everything at 9 watts. I could, I suppose, up it, but you'll see that's going to 4.8 on the 2.5. Let's go to a single coil, and 1.3 still running at 3.8. Is running at 3.8 volts. Two together. Two together. 1.3, 3.8. One on its Todd. 4.8. So it's keeping it at 9 watts. It's a bit gimmicky, I've got to be honest. I tend to look at it from the point of view that you've got a little bit of redundancy in there, if I'm to be truthful. So I would quite probably, me being me, I would very likely put the same juice in both sides, because as you will well see, that is mahoosive. What can I put beside it? I can put a sub-tank nano beside it, and you can see that it's huge. It's huge. It's 2 or 3 times the capacity of a small sub-tank. That takes a lot of juice. And if you like the way it works, if the flavour is good enough for you, and I am by no means the right man to speak about flavour, that's the flavourless. That is definitely the flavourless. That says number 2. Let's switch it across and put the two of them together, and that should give me a slightly diluted blackberry flavour. Which is rather pleasant, I have to say. Yes, so that actually works. I'm going to boost it up a touch and take it up to 12 watts. On this Solara DNA 30. There's no point in putting it on, you know, it's not DNA 45, is it? That's working quite well. If you've got the device that can handle it, and I do think it needs to be on a power controlled device. I'm not sure I'd try running it on a mech, because you can see the difference in voltages that it's requiring. Yeah, if you wanted to use both together or switch between them, then it needs to be on something power controlled. You need to find the right wattage for you. It's never going to wick really thick juices all that well. I tried it with one of my pure VG juices, and it just really didn't want to wick at all well. It's happier with a 60-40 or a 50-50, something like that. But yeah, like I say, it's a touch gimmicky, but it does actually work. Available from Totally Wicked. It's called the Revolver. There is the box, the Revolver. It's a toy. It might be a toy that works well for you. You will need the instructions. You do need to know how to use it. You will probably want a power controlled mod, but that said, as toys go, I've played with worse. That was me trying to lung it. If you're a lung inhaler, it's not there. And because of the construction of the atomizer, there's not the airflow over it. It's definitely better in 2 atties than 1. Quite tight in 1 atty mode. Much better in 2 atties mode. Yes, so there you go. That's the Revolver. Back to the studio.
Well, there you go. That was Dave with the Revolver. And there was some little mentions in chat there about a knocking noise. And I think it might be his chair, because mine kind of squeaks when I move, so I think it was his chair. But anyway, there you go. Interesting little device that. Don't think it's for me. Discussing that with Kat very briefly. What do you say, Kat?
It's not for me either. God, I remember the last one with the 3 atomizers on the top, and you put your different colour drip tips on, and if you could get all 3 in your gob at once, you were doing well. But you could guarantee, you know, only one of the 3 would work. So, no, it's not for me. I'd prefer to just mix me juice. I don't see the point of it, do you?
For me, no. Too much of a faff for me, I think. And I could see those little nipply grommet things pinging off and getting under the carpet or under the sofa or something. And then I'd end up using a cocktail stick, which I've done in the past.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm all for ease of use these days. And you find something you like, and I now just stick to it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was 6 years of vaping for Kirsten and I on the 16th of March. And it's took a long time for me to turn around and say, I'm 100% happy.
Yeah.
But I am. You know, I've found devices that I like, and ease of use, shall we say. And I'll just stick with them now. You know, and I'm quite glad I've got to that stage in vaping. And I'm sure there's quite a few of the people in chat are the same now. But a lot of the newbies will still go through that stage we've all been through.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I've still got a bit of shiny-itis, I will admit. You know, I will admit, I just try not to look nowadays.
You've got a bat phone that takes you straight to China.
Hi.
Oh dear. Well, we're going to go into the next set of ads now. Before we do that, I must say that I am just loving my sub-tank with the rebuildable on, with the RBA and the nickel coiled coil. And I've had the same coil in here for a month, and I'm using the same juice that I've been using for a month as well, one of my own. And it is absolutely cracking. And the other device that I use all the time is the iClear 30S. And this at the moment is on a 3D printed box mod. Yes. And you can see this on next week's show. Yeah. Anyway, next week's Vapor Scene, that is, on Monday. Yes. So let's go to the second set of ads. And when we come back, there's more from Dave, and there's more from me, and there's more from Kat. See you in 2.
Safersix.co.uk, sponsors of the Haze Hour.
RY4 Radio. Joytech UK are proud sponsors of vapetrails.tv.
Safersix.co.uk, sponsors of the Haze Hour.
And we're back. Hello. Yes. Now, before the break, Kat was talking about what she likes, and she has recently been having a few issues. Would you like to share, Kat?
I certainly will. Saturday. These things always happen on a Saturday. My silo tank needed filling. There it is. And I thought, okay, it was down to about a third. Okay, took it off the device, and could I hellers like get the bottom off? I know it creates a vacuum seal, that plastic, silicone or whatever it is, thing inside. So in it went to the vise, which is what I normally have to do. And it didn't come off. And I thought, okay. So I tried gripper things. I thought somebody says a rubber glove. I'll go and try that. Somebody else, because by this time I had Sav looking on all the forums for how to do this.
And also typing furiously into our team chat.
Yes, and she's getting mad. It's going to be a hammer any minute. And somebody had said hot water, so I tried that. That didn't work. I tried everything I could think of, so I thought, okay, get on to Amazon. Now, you've heard these stories before from me. I'm not very good at judging things on Amazon or eBay or wherever. Because some people may remember the syringe.
I've got one of those.
And there it is, the syringe, which was slightly bigger than I thought it was going to be.
That's a tenderizing meat syringe.
Yeah, well, I thought it's a metal one. It'll be good. Jesus. So that was the syringe. Well, I ordered something I thought would be good for getting the twist action. Yet again, I got the size wrong.
Yeah, you put that in our team chat and there was some very strange responses to it.
Yes. So I got that. And then I got those. But by the time I got all that, I'd put this thing through so much stress it was in bits. The glass smashed. So I thought, where the heck do I go from here? So all I could do was order myself a new tank, which I did. There it is. But at the same time, because what I had to do was take the bottom off this and put it on the Nautilus, which I hate, right? Because I just hate the shape of it. It looks horrible. Don't like it. So I ordered a new fancy top for the Nautilus.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, swish that, yeah.
Isn't it lush?
Aye.
So I'm happy as a sandboy because they both work much better now. And in case anybody's wondering, that's the Defender that it's on, of which I now own 2 because they're absolutely fabulous. I really love me Defender. So like you with your sub-tank, I'm a silo fan, except for the opening of the damn thing.
I've not had one, so I can't really comment, but they look okay.
Oh, well, it's the same on the Nautilus, the same problem. I mean, somebody even suggested taking the drip tip out and blowing down there. I was playing tunes on the damn thing, but it didn't come loose. And that, in case anybody wonders what that is, it's a GSA from eLeaf.
Ah.
And I've bought a couple of them because I really like them. I do really like them. And they sit on there quite nicely.
They do, yes.
So, and this, that is a glow-in-the-dark drip tip. And I'm like wee Willy Winky going up to bed at night with me drip tip.
Now, see, I don't take my mods to bed.
I do.
And let me go to there. I wonder if it goes. There we go. Yeah, I didn't smoke in bed when I smoked, and when I go to bed, I leave my mods, where they were the last time I used them. I go to bed and that's it. But I tend to kind of get quite sleepy. I'm not one of these people that goes to bed and reads or whatever. I like to go to bed and just sleep. So yeah, I don't take it to bed. I know Dave took one of his to bed one night and it melted. That was Dave
I hate
K.
to ask how.
Yeah, he had it in his hand. I think he fell asleep with it in his hand and it was firing, or it was a bottom core or something, and something melted. This was, oh God, 14, 18 months ago, and
Right.
somebody very kindly sent him the bit that he needed. Yeah. Now, time's getting on, so the VT that we've got from Dave is a little bit longer. It will take us over. What do you think we should do, Kat?
I think we should just talk.
You think we should just blether?
I think we should just blether and leave the video for the next time. Don't you? Because I wanted to see that I'd been watching that tobacco versus health thing on YouTube, which they were screening live. And I have to report, everybody, that 99% of the speakers that I saw over 2 days, and I only watched 2 days of it, were negative.
Yeah.
And there was one lady from Panama there, and she got a fabulous introduction because Panama have banned e-cigs as of 2009. So everybody loved her before she even stood up and said a word. And then all the way through, I was left flummoxed because she spoke in English, but I understood not one word. Not one word. And yet when she finished, she got a round of applause where they all stood up and cheered, and I thought, how? They all must be sitting there going, she's auntie, that's all we want to know. But Jean-Francois Ete was on there, and he was amazing. He made up for all the negative ones. And I loved him because he quoted a couple of studies. Now, bear in mind, there would have been other people with studies. And they were all quoting the results of the studies, which were all incredibly negative. And when it came to Jean-Francois, he quoted a study which showed, the figures that we know are correct, that 97% of people who've used these e-cigarettes have managed to not go back to smoking. 3% had. And when all the questions came up, there was one guy stood up and said, can I ask the question, why is it that your studies are different to those studies? And I thought, Jean-Francois, stand up. And he did. And I was so proud of him. I thought, oh, he's brilliant. And he thought it was quite emphatic that e-cigarettes were here to stay and that they really needed to look at the studies that were out there. Unfortunately, I didn't catch Dr. F. I missed I missed
Yeah,
him, but
I
I
only
think it's
saw a
on for
few.
another couple of days.
Yeah, I only saw a few. There was a lot of them talking about cocaine use.
Yes.
In their presentations, and kind of making references to cocaine use, and I was thinking, well, what the hell has that got to do with e-cigs? But a lot of them were extremely negative. There was a woman, and I can't remember where she was from, but she had issues with her slides as well at the beginning. It was on the first day, and she was talking about this, that, and the other, and it was just overcomplicated, but overtly negative. And 90% of what we saw was overtly negative, wasn't it? None of it was. The rest of it was good, but there wasn't anything that kind of stood out and shone and said, yeah, this is the real deal here. This is the real information that you need to know. Not all this stuff comparing e-cig vapor to cocaine use and the prevalence in, you know, the different age groups and the metabolization of the stuff in the bloodstream. It was a lot of smoke and mirrors, really.
Yeah, you're quite right. I mean, there was a couple of cardiovascular guys, and they were in direct opposition to what Dr. F was saying. And I thought, the big names, you know, that have worked along with Dr. F to bring these studies to us, you know, like Ricardo Pelosa and people like that. Is he trying to say, or are they trying to say, that these people are of no consequence, that their tests are not as good as theirs? And it kind of got me a bit knocked.
Yes. Now Whip.
Just a tad.
Whip it up. Let me go back to there. Whip it up in chat has said he thinks our only way forward is the TW action. And Leanna says they don't seem to understand. Blaze, that's pretty much the situation though, Whip. Tom Longer said, is it not an infringement of our rights to not allow us a safer alternative to smoking? Yeah, and Blaze is, but arguably so. Chief has just
come on. I mean, how can you have all this discussion, all these years of discussion that has gone on, and never once say we're going to ban the sale of tobacco?
Exactly.
You can't, can you? And I can't get my head around that. You know, that Sir Walter Raleigh, all right, maybe he made a mistake, but he did it, you know? And we're now realising all the negatives of that.
Yeah.
And fair enough, you know, but then get them off sale.
Yeah, indeed. Chief Keith has said something which is good. He says, why should the TW challenge be our only hope? Don't you think that there are plenty of things we can do ourselves to bring vaping into the limelight and get our side of the story put across, and maybe make the public see the situation from our point of view? We can't just sit back and leave it to other people to do everything for us. And I applaud you for that, sir, because that is its entirety. Even though Totally Wicked are doing the legal thing in Europe, that is only one facet of the front, if you like. We as a community, we as vapers, we as individuals, and we as voters need to put our point across to our elected representatives. Unfortunately, my European one is Linda McCavan, and my other one, Dan Jarvis, is Labour. However, he's a very amenable chap. I've seen him a couple of times. He's very amenable. He's always available to go and see. So you still need to be doing that. You still need to be talking to your elected representatives, and vote with your feet in May. If you have a party, if you've got a representative that is standing in your local area, that will take on the fight for you as a voter, then vote for them. That's the only way we're going to get anything. We have to do it ourselves. We can't rely on other people's actions and other people's work, because that might fail. It's no good putting all your eggs in one basket. We need to keep the fight going on and on and on, and we need to get the right people getting the right information. and we need to get people like Nick Clegg not being so damn embarrassed about it when he's asked a question on a radio show. What do you think,
You're
Kat?
quite right. I can't see them being able to stop this now. It's too big. There are too many of us now. And, I mean, I had to go to the opticians last week. So I went into North Shields, which is not a very big place. You know, I went into the town centre there. And as I crossed the road to the optician, here was a guy walking down with his e-cig in his hand, puffing great big clouds, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, get in there. And when I came out, there was another one.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, a year ago, this wouldn't be seen.
No.
I'd be lucky if I spotted one. Now, it's spot the cigarette smoker out there.
Yeah.
So that in itself tells me they're going to have one hell of a job of getting rid of this.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree with you. You know, there's 2 million of us in the UK. The problem is that not many of the people who now vape know about the forums, know about the action, know about everything else, because some of the vendors don't know or they don't care. And this is something we need to get across to all the little independent vendors. If they're selling something, if they open a shop and that's all they're selling, then they need to be in the know. If they've got another shop and they're selling it as a sideline, then they probably don't care. They just think it's a quick money-making thing, and they'll make some cash in it while it's available. And then if it gets kicked out, they'll get something else in. But the market stall vendors, they need to know. And we need to make sure that if we're buying from those kind of places, that we tell them about what's going on. Otherwise, we're not going to get anywhere. So, you know, the fight is never over. It's not over till a fat lady sings, and I ain't singing, and I ain't a lady. But here is one.
No,
here we go. There's Kat.
We're not going to give up. You know, we just continue doing what we've been doing. And, you know, as Chief Keef says, you know, we can fight this battle. There are many aspects to it. And we're just not going to lie down and take it. And I'm sorry, some of the vendors are already preparing for the TPD. What the hell's that about? You know? I don't like buying juice in 10 mils.
No.
You know? So spread the word, yeah. But keep on doing what we're doing, because we will, it may take another 10 years, but we will beat this. And that was something else, you know, in that conference. They kept saying, we will, of course, keep the door open for future. No, it wasn't studies. It was just, if anything that positive that comes forward, they will listen to. And I thought, well, it's because you can't close it. We've got our foot in the door, that's why. And if the whole of the EU join together in this, which we seem to be doing, or we're making a start to do, they cannot bloody beat we. You know? They can't. We're too damned awkward.
Well, that's it. Kat has said they cannot beat her.
Nah, they cannot beat her.
They cannot beat her. And on that bombshell, as Jamie Clarkson would say, if he was on Top Gear on Sunday, which he's not. But there you go. That's another matter. Watching that story with interest, I have to say. It's time to bring it to a close because we've gone slightly over this week. We'll bring you the other video next week, or Dave will, if he's okay by then. Hopefully he will be.
If he's feeling better.
If he's feeling better, yeah.
Yeah, he's not too well.
Don't forget, he's
got Ebola light, apparently.
He's got Ebola light. Oh dear. What he needs is some Philadelphia light spread on his chest. Oh no, that's Vicks light. Yeah. Yes, so don't forget, no show on Sunday, but I am back on Monday with Gary Dibley for Vapor Scene. Tuesday it is then Drips and Tips with Andy and Davey. Wednesday it's The Cave. And Thursday it's either going to be the Haze Hour, or you never know, it might be the Vape Hour again. I'm back from Scotland on Thursday, so you never know. You might see me again twice in 1 week. My thanks
never
to
know your luck.
my thanks to Kat. Say good night, Kat.
Good night, everybody. Good night and thank you.
And thanks for tuning in, and we will see you soon. And get well, Dave. Good night.
Absolutely.
SaveTheSigs.co.uk, sponsors of the Haze Hour.